Hi, my name is Rick Howell. I'm a TV guide, and this show is called Talk Back to Television. It's about the business of television, how we make the programs, how we distribute the programs, and mostly how we pay for the programs. Because if we can't pay for the shows, there's nothing to watch. Stay tuned. Good morning. This is Talk Back for Change from my Talk Back to Television series, and I'm here with Julie Saltman. Julie, how are you?
I am excited. How are you, Rick?
I am doing very well. Now, you are a Broadway producer type, and tell us a little bit about that, but then we're going to dive right into what you're doing that is going to just change people's minds. So what do you do professionally?
Okay, I am a Broadway producer and costume designer, and I am developing, well, it's been 9 years in the coming, a show called Taking Wing, and it's going to be the biggest technology show on Broadway. It's totally fandom, Griffins, Phoenix, Flutterby Fairies, and it's all about how it doesn't take goods to do good. And in the end, everyone learns a lesson, so it's not happily ever after, it's hopefully ever after. And every single day that we and we won for best script in 2021.
Okay.
And it's going to be a VR experience. It's going to be an animated film. It's going to be, each character is going to have its own children's book, and of course it is going to be a very splashy Broadway musical.
Wowie kazowie. Okay, now that is about as high tech as you can get.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk now about something that was about as low tech as you can get in television, and that is the Mr. Rogers Show. And you're doing some work with an organization that's endorsed by the family and the organization. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Mr. Rogers and why.
Okay. Well, in the immediate future, I am part of the conference that happens the first week of April in Orlando, called the Mr. Rogers Week of Kindness.
Okay.
And it will have lots of events and lots of talkbacks in the theme of, Mr. Rogers. There's going to be a Mrs. Rogers high tea. Yes, exactly the way it's there's going to be a day where they're going to show clips of cast and crew from the years. Each one of us is going to be interviewed for an hour. It's going to be a podcast, and we're going to be filmed. I'm hoping it's going to be streamed as well.
All right.
There's going to be a big concert on Friday night of all the music of Mr. Rogers. And there are going to be all kinds of talks throughout the weeks and, of what we can do moving forward to bring his messages and his teachings to today, because they are still very relevant.
Very relevant and very needed. Okay. This is in the first week of April, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And I'm going to make sure you're going to get me the information and the links and whatever I can post up and promote and let people see and participate in this as much as possible. But now
Absolutely.
You told me before we get into the real messaging, you told me you're going to be wearing a very special hat the quote unquote high tea. And I will confess that I've never been to a high tea in my life, and the hats I wear have a tendency to be simply mundane. But anyway, the hat has what on it?
It is going to have the trolley on it.
Now,
I am all week, I'm going to be in red and gold, because I will be emulating the trolley, because my life, I am always going into the land of make-believe. Sometimes I'm going into the land of can't believe, but for the most part, it's land of make. And I am a costumer, and when I show up to things in New York City or whatever else, like, I understand why you think my having a trolley on my head is a little, out there, but it's what's expected of me. So I'd be letting a lot of people down if I wasn't emulating the trolley and doing something that, like this.
All right. Now, speaking of trolleys, you have a very special trolley right next to you there. Let's spin our camera around.
Ding,
we can see.
Ding, ding, ding.
Now, that is the Mr. Rogers neighborhood trolley.
Yes, a replica. It's not the one in the Smithsonian.
But it's signed?
It is signed. It is signed. I was in the neighborhood from 1995 to 1998. And Mr. Rogers signed this for me in 1998, which happens to be the year that the Tom Hanks movie takes place.
Was set. Okay. Now, what were you doing in the neighborhood from 95 to 98?
Oh, I was working in the land of make believe. I was doing props and costumes, and I was painting dots on the floor and making little puppet costumes. Um, and when we did the interior, I was more of the kitchen stuff, like the props with that, and I was in charge of the fish tank for a little while. And my friends used to bribe me because they wanted to feed Mr. Rogers fish. So I had to be the Jewish girl telling them there was no Santa Claus, because I'm like, you do realize we're 25. This show is 33 years old. These fish are from down the block. These are not 33-year-old fish. And they get very upset with me, but it was true. So yeah, that was and in the documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, I'm in it 10 seconds, don't blink, moving the fish tank.
Really?
So yeah, so those stories actually came back of I never let them feed the fish. So yeah, I'm in the documentary.
Okay, so your attachment to Mr. Rogers is more than just, I mean, my son grew up watching those videos on a little TV lying on the floor.
Yep.
You were there.
Yeah, I was there and we were close. He was amazing. My family also had a house on Nantucket, so he called me his extra special neighbor because he also had a house on Nantucket. And I was the new girl in the neighborhood, and he loved watching my moving forward. I'm not going to cry. Um, and and he actually wrote my recommendations to graduate school, and he kept in touch with me. He wanted to know where the neighborhood had sent me. And yeah, and to this day, I mean, you try having a mentor that you think your career needs, try having it be Mr. Rogers.
Wow.
And he's really been a part of my life. But then when the documentary came out, it became again a part of my everyday life. And I've always volunteered because of Mr. Rogers. I have everything I have done. And my show that has taken so many hard topics out, I always wonder what he would think of it, because he was all about having the hard conversations, and I'm all about, I took it all out so that everyone will love it and everyone will enjoy it. There's no race, there's no gender, there's no black or white, violence, or romantic relationships. I mean, I know he'd be proud of me, but again, even if people from the neighborhood came and saw it, they can't speak for Fred. They would never tell me what Fred would think of it, but
Right.
That is my goal, to have David Neville, Mr. McFeely, and Hedda and all of them come see my opening night someday.
It's just magical that you worked with Fred Rogers and you worked on that show.
Oh yeah,
I've never
Fred.
known anybody who knew him personally. That's
Yeah,
just
people give me a hard time all the time when I go, "Oh my God, you worked for Bradley Cooper, you worked for this." Julie, you worked for Mr. Rogers. We don't want to hear it. I'm like, okay.
That's just amazing. All right, so now got a couple minutes. Tell us what the organization who's running this conference, and you told me this conference has grown and it's doing in other cities and it is expanding. What's the message that you want to convey to the world, but very specifically to the audience that's coming to that? What are you really trying to get out?
I personally want to convey, and it's one of the reasons I'm so excited about this conference, besides the fact that I canceled the whole month of March just to get ready for it. Um, I, I want to convey that, yes, it is very important to have the hard conversations, and it's very important to be able to talk about these things, but it's also okay to be positive and have happy conversations about these messages and these teachings. Yes, I am the jaded New York City girl, but I love waving at police officers. I love
Yeah.
talking to subway people. You can, it's so it's not that people haven't suffered or they haven't been bullied, or I have myself too, but it's okay to talk about it in a positive way as well. And I'm hoping going to this, I can convey, yes, again, I am the jaded New Yorker, but it's, you don't have to be a victim. You can turn that around and talk about it positive and what good has come out of it. And that's really how I want my life from, before the conference and after the conference moving forward. I want to be able to find the good in the bad.
Wonderful. All right. Now, listen, to close, when we began the conversation about doing the show, I told you I'll do a show if you'll sing the song for us. So,
yes.
Would you please sing the song for us?
Okay. But disclaimer, it's not really a beautiful day here. So just in general.
Okay.
It's okay. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in the neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, could you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Wonderful. Julie Saltman, that is just inspirational for all of us.
And I've
Thank
been
you
walking
very
around.
much. This will air next week, and everybody's going to see it, and you can tell everybody about you're on television. And by the way, this appears on Tracy Swedlow's distribution and my distribution, and it also appears streaming on USA Today.
Oh, wow.
So I can't tell you exactly when it's going to be there, but people are going to hear you singing on television, kiddo.
And I can't be any worse than everybody else on the planet that sung that song.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rick. Bye.
The point is getting to the point fast with news that helps you get more from reading less. The point is hearing the nation on your morning commute.